Hi, I'm Dave. Welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to try and make this look like this. So first we should explain what this is that I'm going to make look like that. This is Magnetic Racing Kit at 041C, the Deluxe Container Cafe. It's a great kit, it's got a lot of parts in it, it's quite detailed, but for me it's a little bit too truck stop aesthetic. I'm after something a bit more hipster, street food, trendy aesthetic. So I found this picture on the internet and I'm going to try and turn that kit into something that looks a bit more like this. Yeah, I don't know what those copper things are in the background. I'm assuming that's some kind of trendy craft beer. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to make a good attempt at black varnished wood and a walk-in cafe rather than the walk up to the hatch cafe design, which the kit is. So yes, it'll be a half an hour video, I'm afraid, just for part one. I'm not going to go full boon on you and give you a 3-hour video in one hit. I'm just not like that. So please bear with it, pull up a nice warm cup of coffee and we'll get started. And the first thing I'm going to do, just so I know where we're going from and where we're going to, is I'm going to take a print out picture of the kit and what I'm aiming to make it look like and just stick them on the wall in front of me where I'm working, so I've always got a point of reference. And let's get this kit open. I should stress this is not a sponsored video. I didn't pay for this kit, it was bought for me by my wife. Kit comes with a little 3D printed coffee server and I think 10 sheets of kit. This is quite a lot of sheets for a magnetic racing kit. They're not normally 10 sheets, so it is a big old thing to get on with. This is why I've had it for a while and it's taken me a while to start it, because I've just been trying to sort of work my way up to it. If you want one, go to magneticracing.com and they'll sell you one. So obviously, tools you're going to need: razor blade, be careful, a file, and say it with me, cup of coffee in a magnetic racing cup. And then for various bits I'm going to paint black. I'm going to do them with grey car primer first, and then I've got some rattle can black paint as well to go over the top of the grey. And for the varnished bits, I'm going to use this. I've been looking for a while for a decent varnish. I've tried bits of scrap kit with various varnishes, and this one comes out the best. I've done a few other bits with it, and as you can see, nice shiny varnished finish. Varnished finish, yes. I'll start with this first sheet here. I think if we reduce the number of sheets we've got to deal with quickly, that will help the task. So let's just get that deck out of the way and we'll deal with all of these little pieces here, which are all to do with the furniture, the tables, the chairs, the benches, everything. The instructions for the kit say you should do this bit last, but I'm not very good with authority and rules, so I'll do it my way round. Bit more coffee, because this could be a bit of a mammoth task in itself. So there's a few more bits of outside benches and bits for the bin, and there's a chair that comes with this kit for the serving person. So I'm just going to split up all the bits into the different bits of furniture they make. So there's the benches, there's the long tables, the two taller tables and the stools, the bin and the little chair at the back. And now of course it's filing time. Time to file all the little bits off all of those little bits. This will take a while. I'm not going to subject you to watching all of it. So while we're here, we might as well stick the bin together. I've done this before on a different video. There's all sorts of instructions on how to do this. This is my way of doing it. Get all the bits of the bin, or at least 5 of the 6 sides, put them all together, glue one side, put the top on, turn it over, take what is now the top off, and then glue that back on, and there's a bin done. It's not quite so fiddly if you do it that way. So next up, I'm going to separate all the bits out into bits that are going to be varnished and bits that are going to be painted black. And before I paint anything black, especially rattle can wise, these 2 taller tables have got these little tiny feet that make a cross shape to stand them up. I'm going to glue those together first, because if I try and rattle can paint those 2 tiny little bits of MDF there, they will blow away and I'll never find them again. So turn the smallest bits into bigger bits if you possibly can before you can paint anything. Right then, a little bit more coffee. That'll get us to the end of that cup. So that's a 1 cup section. And now, new fresh coffee. I've painted all the black bits back, and I've painted all the varnished bits with varnish that I want. And I've just got to assemble all of the furniture. Now, these benches and tables are actually quite easy. But for the record, here they are, all being stuck together in fast forward. I find if you stick the legs on the things and then turn them over and sit them and press them down straight onto a flat piece of wood, you end up with everything nicely lined up, and they will stand on a flat surface properly once they're dried. This is quite a big task, doing all of these little bar stools. But I quite like the video in fast forward. That's why I kept it all in. So now we're going to move on to the actual structure of the container itself, which is where I'm going to start modifying a few bits and pieces. So the roof we can get rid of for a minute, and we've got the 3 sides and the 2 ends. Now one of the ends has on the kit got this kind of pre-cut hatch, because there's a side hatch which I'm not going to use, so I'm just going to put a bit of masking tape over that, super glue it shut and turn it back into a solid wall end. Now a couple of modifications. Modification to the back wall, and it will become apparent why in a little bit, is I'm going to put the door at the other end. So I'm just going to turn that wall round. You can do this with this kit, it's quite versatile for that point of view. And the front, I've marked on where I'm going to cut out for the big full opening at the front of the container. And I've kind of worked that out by clipping bits of the kit together and working out where I need to draw lines and where exactly my floor level is going to be. The plan here is to cut this out in such a way that the outside deck and the inside floor of the container are kind of lined through properly. So on the front cladding piece that goes over the front of the container, I've also marked out which bits I'm going to cut out. Now the interesting thing is the deck. Now the deck normally in this kit is supposed to surround the container on 3 sides, and the stairs are fixed to it at one side as well. However, what I worked out was, if I cut those 2 pieces off there that I've carefully measured, and then cut across there, and across here, losing a little tiny bit of waste, then I end up with that piece which will go there. And I can use the part of the deck to wood panel the floor with inside the container. Allow me to demonstrate. I've made the cuts now. So the deck is now the same width as the front of the container. And the remaining 2 pieces, with a little bit of sanding and fettling, do fit inside. Now you can see there's a slightly strange join at the back there, but the reason I've turned the back door round on the back face is so that I can put the counter that side and hide that join. And you can see I've made the cuts and cut out and removed all the excess bits of material from the front faces of the container. I'm going to get all the bits of the container box, and I'm going to do this all in the wrong order as well, because you're supposed to build the box and then put the cladding on. But I'm going to put all the cladding onto all of the bits of box and then put the box together afterwards. Magnetic Racing are wondering why they write instructions, because I just don't follow them at all. So that's the ends put together. Fresh coffee again, and you'll see I've varnished the bits of deck, and I've varnished the inside walls of the container. And the outside walls, of course, we're trying to make a trendy black container, so I've painted them black. So, take a seat, quick slurp of coffee, prepare for building. Now the great thing about these kits is they are so accurately made. The best way to glue this box together is just to snap it all into place, and then once you've got it all nice and solid, bit of a tap down, square it all up, glue it together. Now I thought I knew how to glue 2 pieces of wood together, and then I watched Rob from Swiftslot's video on gluing. And the best way to glue things together is to put some glue down, get it onto a blade, and then wipe it very accurately into the places you want it, and let capillary action take the glue down into the joint for you. Not a way I'd thought of doing it before, but since I watched his video I do this quite a lot now. Not in every situation, but certainly in most, and certainly in this one. It lets you get glue where you want without getting glue where you don't want. And just go around and glue the top edges of the boxes as well. So there we are, there's a box. We have made a box. It's taken us 14 minutes so far, but we've got there. And now in theory, with the box made, these 2 pieces of flooring should just slot in. So having got the box sorted, we need to concentrate now on the roof and the roof terrace. So by way of explanation, they recommend that you slot this inner roof part on, but don't glue it down, and then build off of that. So I've got all the other bits painted black or varnished as needed to match the original photograph that I'm working towards. Kit comes with a little shelf, 3 brackets, so I'll just put those in. Put the shelf on the brackets. And I'm going to put the door on the back, but I'm not going to close it. I'm just going to leave it open a little bit. Concentrate more on the roof itself. So there's the piece to work with. There's the deck cladding on top of the roof. And then the next step is to put this little edging piece around. And as long as you've got that in the right place, putting the rest of the balustrades in is pretty easy. Just using the square to make sure they're all upright and they all fit properly. I varnished the letters for cafe as well. So that bit is coming together. And now to work on the staircase. Again, there's all sorts of things in the instructions about how you should do this, but I've got a theory and I'm going to try it out. I'm going to stick the bottom step in and make sure it's all squared up 90 degrees in every direction, exactly where it should be. And the same with the top step. And if I square that up, I can put the other balustrade on and glue that all solid, and it should all be perfectly square with just the top and bottom treads of the stairs in. That in itself is a bit fiddly, but it makes the next bit easier. So once that's dried and good and solid, you can see it's all nice and square. It's so square, in fact, you can now just get all the treads for all the other stairs and just drop them through those holes. And everything just lines up. Which is, as I say, testament to the kit accuracy, not my building abilities. And once again, the Robert Swift slots method of gluing everything. Just for every single step, just pick up a little bit of glue on the blade, wipe it along the underside of each step. And the same on the other side. Now this bit you really do have to do in order. Do not under any circumstances put the back piece of balustrade on until you have fixed the stairs to the upper deck, because if you do, it's just not physically possible to get the stairs on after you've glued on the back balustrade. Balustrade on last, and then everything will go together properly. And there's a final couple of little trim pieces to go on the side of the staircase to cover up the edges of those stairs there. So that's starting to quite look like a cafe now. Now I'm going to work on the deck. Now the deck on the original one, as we know, wrapped round all three sides of the container. The picture I'm aiming for, the stairs come down next to the deck is raised up slightly, and it's at the same level as the floor inside the container that you walk straight through into. So I need to kind of elevate that bit of deck a bit. So I'm going to try and do as much of this as I can using the spare bits of kit that came in this particular kit without having to get any other bits of wood from anywhere. So all these bits would have been scrap, but I'm just looking for, it doesn't matter about the little nibs and edges anywhere, I'm just looking for two lengths of MDF that are 2mm thick with one flat edge that will face outwards. Nobody's going to see the inside edge, it doesn't matter too much. The other great thing about this MDF is if you've got a sharp craft knife blade, you can just kind of shave the edges off bits where you've cut and just trim them up to get them just so. You can be quite precise with it. So that will sit under the edge along there. And just to double check, those floor levels all line through properly. Edge of the container, floor inside, deck outside. And just using my scrap piece of wood block as an edge to make sure everything lines up nice and square before I glue it down. And the same the other side. And then the same in the middle, I'm not going to make that piece of wood go right to both ends of the deck. More on this in a minute. So now we have a deck in place, and it should be flush all the way across and slightly raised, so you can see it's visually raised from the front. Now I haven't glued those tables down there, they are only just placed there to give me a guide for a measure, so I know where to put a balustrade and some steps. Because the picture I'm working towards, the deck has a balustrade around it and some steps. Their deck has little posts and bits of rope, but I don't think string really represents rope very well at this small scale, so I'm just going to go for a little fence. Again, just harvesting bits from the kit. And again, using the edge of the workpiece as my square edge to help me get the bits that I'm trying to build all nice and square before I glue them together. So there we are, there's a little bit of fence. And make some more bits of fence because we need to go round one side and across two corners of this deck. So there we are with the little bits of fence I've just made all painted black, and a little step that I've made with a couple more bits of scrap kit that I harvested. I'll glue all of these down so we've got a nice little fence all the way around the edge. And we are really getting there now. Pop the furniture in just to have a bit of a look. And there we are. That is the outside structure of the cafe, built and modified. I'm really quite pleased with how it's coming along. And you can see it's not exactly like the picture I'm aiming at, but I am heading in the right directions there. I've still got quite a lot of bits of old spare bits of kit left that I can probably make some more things with. But for now, I'm going to draw this video to a close because we've been half an hour and we've got all of the outside done. And in part 2, I'm going to tackle the interior of the cafe and put some people on the benches and things. So we will save that for another day. But for now, thank you for watching this video. It is half an hour. I appreciate you giving up your time. If you liked it, please press the like button. If you press the subscribe button, I'll get closer to 1,000 subscribers, and then I can open that mystery box. And if you hit the bell, you'll get a notification when I put part 2 of the video up.